it's important that I have a full view of the Dorji Kasong and they have a view of me. So the Dorji Kasong are the service position that I learned about when I was studying in Boulder, Colorado. Means indestructible command protector, something like that. So like they represent the four gates of the mandala, the teachers in the center. So, Matthew's looking this way, and Ellen's looking that way, and Deb's looking that way, and Jen's looking that way. Jen's the embedded one. She gets the ground level, so there's like that. So the Dorji Kosong's like a service position, and it's a tough position because, or I think it's easy, but a tough position because uh, it's folks who will just have they'll just say, I'll do it, I'll try it, I'll do it, right? So because in the real world things happen immediately. Um, So the Dorji Khalsa represent that level of awareness that is immediacy, right? You don't have to have a second thought. So like Trungpa say first thought, best thought. There's nothing wrong with first thought. First thought can be like a reflection of things, but we all know what happens with second thoughts. Unless your first thought is idiotic, and then maybe you didn't get a second thought. But the idea, Dorji Kasang, is like, okay, first thought, best thought, and I'll give it a try. Just like I'll try it. So that leads into the subject for today's talk, to leap like a tiger while sitting. So I owe that phrase to the late Zen master Sung San, son's name, who is a Korean Zen master, taught in the West for many years, passed into nirvana maybe 15 years ago, something like that. So that's what they would call their retreats instead of like the Japanese session. Say something, I don't know, my Korean, like Yongmon Janjin, something like that. So so it's more than just a name for a retreat, it's a name for a style of or accomplishment in practice. Can we leap like a tiger while sitting? So for those of you that came to the 10-10 meditation, you already have a little bit of clue, right? But I'm going to try to say some different things. So if you want to know what I said in the 10-10 sitting, then you'll have to learn how to time travel. Like that. So the different positions of the Dorje Kasong are interesting. So like Matthew's in the piece of it, like direct seeing, and then Jen and Ellen are at an angle side, and Deb's in the position of no need to see, right? No need to see, like that. Usually our sitting practice is, kind of a schlep, right? So maybe a few people like come to darshan and say, I just couldn't wait to meditate. Now everyone's going to start saying that. Let me tell you all about it. I can't even wait. It's like, I just couldn't wait to get on a cushion this morning. But that has that quality that we do need to also cultivate. So the leaping quality isn't just I can't wait to meditate, but it also entails the resistance. I don't want to. Mhm. So that's like the earth element, the kind of like resistance, the heaviness, and then I can't wait to is the heaven or the sky, the space element, and then we have the water and fire and the wind in the center. So the experience of sitting while leaping like a tiger means that the energy systems are like a tuned guitar string. So the experiences were being pulled down from the earth and then being like kind of pulled up towards space or heaven. So the experience of sitting is you're vibrating like a little taut, like you would, like maybe a double bass string or something like that. Mhm. If we're, does it sound like too much work? Like you're being lifted up and then pushed down at the same time? Does that seem like too much work? It is a little work at first. I'm glad it doesn't seem like too much, but there's that strange experience of like you're pushing down and then pulling up at the same time. These, of course, are further explored in the Salong and Tiglay practices, but I don't like to teach those unless there's the right connection, and usually we have to do that on retreat because over darshan or something, because every snowflake's a little different, right? Yeah, like that. So, but when we're talking about leap, there's that feeling like you've got the downward wind and you've got the upper wind going at the same time. So you're feeling pulled up and pushed down at the same time, and then uh, the energies in the center can operate properly. On the outside, it looks like a static position, but it's very dynamic. On my bucket list is, getting to Italy and Florence, because I always wanted to see like Michelangelo's David. Um, I guess the one on the outside is now a copy, and then the inside, but the same. So what's interesting, is I didn't see this myself until someone pointed it out, but Michelangelo, according to this art person, we have artists, historians here, like tried to capture that point just before David, like, hurled at Goliath, the lock point, that dynamic point like that, you know. Um, Otherwise, it would just be he was just kind of standing there. So that's what's kind of interesting about sculpture, that a totally static form had that dynamic quality. So in our meditation practice, some of the most profound people I've sat with are they're not trying to be rigid. They're just, it's so freaking still that it moves like that. Um, so interesting thing, like my mother was kind of an avowed agnostic atheist person after having go to church as young. But when she went to Italy, she said that when she saw the Pietà, Michelangelo, she just broke down crying. I find that interesting because she's she was totally like normal person, play tennis, go to the club person, but the statue moved. Okay, the statue moved. And of course, we know that it moved her, but to see it as a statue alive is really interesting, don't you think? So once again, that would be like an example of, it was totally static and moving at the same time. So to leap like a tiger while sitting is that dynamic quality that embraces both polarities, right? The kind of uh, resistance quality of the earth and the I want to do it quality at the same time. Because that's what we're looking for, not only in the higher teachings, but in our shamatha practice. Otherwise, the shamatha practice becomes kind of dull and like you don't want to do it because it just seems just like schlag, right? It feels like a schlag or maybe calming, but there isn't that kind of like you've just plugged your finger into the socket feel, right? So, and the attainment of shamatha, but even just shamatha is this incredible pliancy is the word that's used, but it's more than that. It's a nice word, pliancy, but we don't use it in everyday life. Like you read the text and the translator saying pliancy is serviceability, but it's much more like you're just on the diving board. You haven't made the dive yet, and or David hasn't thrown, like that. There's that dynamic quality. So when we say like, it's not the leap yet. It's the kind of you're in that just about to leap quality. Yeah, like that. So I just want to stop here for a second and see if this is useful, or if someone has a question or a comment before I confuse people more or something. Okay, you're the first, but you need the microphone. Kim needs the mic. Mhm. One of these days, we're going to have like in the new system, we're going to have an Omni mic, right? Yes. Got to be a little green light. There you go. No, no.
Now? Okay. So my friend Viola went to see the Nike, or it was the Venus de Milo. She walked up to the Venus de Milo and she fainted. And when she woke up, the guards were all fanning her. She was laying on the floor. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. How embarrassing." They go, "Oh, no, 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 madam. It was the only proper response."
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's, pardon me, there's a Rodin sculpture called Girl Wading Through Water that's just the torso from mid-thigh to neck and shoulders. And it has that vital movement in it that even though it's still, you can see the forward motion of the figure. And I think that's the most evocative comparison that I've heard, that it really does feel like there's motion there. And when you were explaining that and using the Pieta as an example, I recall having that feeling looking at that sculpture and being willing to stand there and just stare at it for what seemed like hours because it was mesmerizing. And that was just a wonderful, evocative example for you to use. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
So when we have this basic setup that we're being kind of pulled down, or we're pushing down a little bit the ground aspect, the resistance aspect, then when we have the the thought like, I'm just too tired to meditate today, then we're thrilled, like, okay, I've got that polarity going, we got that, and then we can have the I want to be free, and then lifting, right? So it's essential to have those polarities set up for the channels, and for the lung to move in the channels, and to experience the energy drops. Otherwise, it's all kind of like collapsed, like that you just squished a little bit, so the movement can't happen. But it's a different experience than usually, like the traditional teaching is, okay, sit in the posture of the illuminator of Vajrayana, and your back straight, and your spine's kind of like stacking quarters or something like that, and that's fine. But then you have this a little bit of a static thing. It's more that you're being, like extended like that a little bit. Because what happens is, of course, that extension isn't static either, because of it's constantly expanding and contracting, right? But we want to get it's like, I like a lot of props. So if I had my rubber band, so you get these big rubber bands, and then like they're not doing anything if they're just sitting there, right? But if you get a good rubber band, then you feel that experience, right? And then because of the breath, the rubber band's going to expand and contract a little bit, but you're going to keep the dynamic tension in it, right? Otherwise, you'll just fall. So you don't want to be just the rubber band, just kind of, do not be a limp rubber band, so so you want to have that little like this, in the gym. Sometimes what is it they have people do, you put on those bands like that, and extend. So still that that is not a static, the central channel piece, and heaven and earth thing are not static. They're going like this, correct? And likewise, the we say, and the winds enter the central channel. We want to dissolve things into the central channel, but that doesn't mean like you're blanking out the right and left channels, right? We're not here to eliminate something. We just want the central channel to be the main balance, and then you have the things on the side. Okay. So things are not only expanding and contracting, but they're rising and falling too. So the leap experience is the ability to, you're really appreciating, let me put it that way, you're really appreciating like this weird experience of rising and falling and expanding and contracting like that. The Buddha criticized the yogas of the time by just saying, you guys have just developed the rising of the energy and then the samadhis that go with that, right? You have not explored the other samadhis. And on top of that, you haven't explored how the whole process works, how the sense of identity, arises and disappears. So the full piece of leaping like a tiger while sitting is to experience that full process of arising and disappearing. That's what we're after. But when it's set up properly, then as I've taught before, when the breath slows down and starts to make like its U-turn to come back, there's power in that U-turn. And normals don't understand this. Normals think the power is always in the going up or going down on the straight, right? That's, you think, okay, I'm gonna win the race on this straightaway, right? Has anybody ever like raced cars? Okay, you don't have to tell me. Yeah, so I've done a lot of silly things. Most of them had some altering substance involved, but you're gonna win the race on the curve, correct? Somebody said, "Yeah, you know what I'm talking about." Yeah, So it's at the curve as the outward breath and at the curve of the inward breath that that is when actually the correct sense of personal self, the mere I, we'd say, shows up correctly. Whereas usually we have that kind of misperceived self, a little bit too graspy. Solid self is in that kind of, we're trying to run on the straightaway. So the best time actually to make decisions and to like do something is actually, you want to wait until the curve and then let the thought arise on the curve. So you want to make the decision on the curve like that, not just not pushing it on the straightaway or pulling it on the in breath, but it happens on the curve. So this is just kind of esoteric yoga talk, but some people might be interested to know. Because usually we go, well, how does from the tantras, how does the self arise? How does that identity and the energy work? We want to explain it, how mind and energy work together. Usually when we're doing Hinayana practice or the Mahayana practice or Vajraparamita practice, we're not talking about joining the wind energy with the mind. Isn't that so? We're not talking that way. But when we're actually doing highest yoga tantra, we have to talk about how the mind and the subtle energies work together. So it isn't just like, now I know how the subtle mind and the subtle energies work together, but like we're seeing how they work together so you can see how the sense of self arises and dissolves, and you can make a decision along with that, right? Because that's always what gets us in trouble. Silly identities and bad decisions. don't you think? That's what gets us in trouble. I mean, the jerks out there get us in trouble too. But from our own side, right, it's usually some kind of inflated or or deflated sense of self combined with a bad decision. So we're practical Dharma people. We want to know who we are, and we want to make intelligent decisions, correct? We want to make like good investments in our time, and we want to, have that experience of aliveness while doing it, don't we? So let me stop here again. See if made more confusion, more sanity.
Dirk, you can go ahead.
Oh, thank you. What you were just talking about sounded like the unborn Vajra recitation.
Could you repeat that, please?
When I saw, can you not hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. What you were just saying sounded like the unborn Vajra recitation, sort of, to me. That was why that practice appealed to me. I think that in breath to the you've got not just the in and out breath going, you've got that curve, I guess. I did motorcycles, so when I saw the David, I was disappointed because I had already seen so many representations and copies that I didn't really see much difference. So there was nothing. It just didn't do anything special for me, in particular. But when I saw Baccioni's unique forms of continuity in space at MoMA for the first time, I had never seen it before, and I had that experience with that. And so I wonder sometimes if, even in my own case, probably more than most, having read so many descriptions of wow, of so many descriptions of experience, meditative experience, if maybe that's a problem, reading so many descriptions of the experience before actually having had it. What do you think about that? I know that, like the Dzogchen texts were warning me not to read them when I was new, and I read them anyway. And maybe that hindered my progress. I don't know. In the same way that seeing reproductions of David hindered my ability to actually appreciate David when I encountered it.
Yeah, that's a really, can I speak to that? So, my general problem as a teacher is to not have people read less, but read more, but read less, you see. So so the reading is the diving board, but doesn't become the dive. And it's our ego nature that we want to know what the experience is before we have it. So, and we want the experience to be new. So it is important to check out what we eat before we eat it, right? But too much description is kind of like a drag a little bit. It's kind of like living with somebody who's too much of a foodie. I like good food, but like, let's say they made the dish and they have to explain all the flavors before you've eaten it. So one time I was having dinner with Gary Snyder, the poet, and his family, and Gary was explaining where the food came from and all the different flavors and stuff. And finally his son Kai, who was about 13 at the time, just said, "Dad, can we just eat?" You know, like that. Like that. Yeah, so a little bit, we want to have some structure, so at least we're pointed in the right direction. But working with our own inner Lama, we're having this debate, and I want to know what's going to happen before it happens. So we can do a little bit of reading and intelligence to know that there has to be a proceeding for those that love Abhidharma the way I do. There has to be a preceding mind moment before the next moment, right? Okay. So you know it's going to be somewhat similar. So when we have done a little study and practice and listened to many teachings, then we at least know intellectually it's got to be luminous awareness that has absolutely no center point, right? And that no sense of ownership. We have to know the essential nature of awareness. So the next mind moment has to be that, right? Essentially. So why do you have to know whether it's going to taste like pistachio or vanilla? Do you need to know? Not really. You know the essentials, right? So it's not going to be totally like different, but it's going to be different. And if you knew what it would taste like, you'd be kind of slumped. So generally people's practice gets stale when they're trying to constantly predict their experience like that, right? Probably because of fear. But when you do enough practice, particularly, meditating on Gaur Dorji's, 3 points, then it has to be a certain way. Would anybody like to recite Gaur Dorji's 3 points before we close today? Come on, be brave. You can, at least one person could do one. And okay, there's one. Say it loud. We need it on the.
Decide on one.
No, but let's start with the first one.
Introducing the direct nature of mind.
How would you want to say it, Jen?
Introducing the direct face of Rigpa. Introducing the face of Rigpa directly.
Okay. Then say it louder. And
Introducing the face of Rigpa directly.
okay, fine. You want to say it again? You can say it. Let's say it real loud, and then
You really didn't.
they didn't hear. You gotta love the mic. Yell it.
Introducing the face of Rigpa directly. Something along those lines.
Oh, okay, good. And then what's the next one?
Decide on one thing and one thing only.
Okay, what's next?
All things, when examined, are self-liberated.
Okay. Yes, let's say it again. You-
Confidence in the liberation of rising thoughts.
yeah. Well, look it up. Yeah. Yeah, so we need to, become really familiar with these 3 points. Because under stress, you people may not, you might not be able to remember long shastras or long poems, right? So, there are these wonderful pithy, instructions that it's helpful to actually, like memorize like that. So, all right, there will be something next, you see. So sometimes people go, I'll just have the view. I was introduced to the view, got that. So I'll just do that. But there's not quite the confidence yet. The confidence has to come, over time, right? We just don't say, well, now I'm confident, So we have to test it, don't we? But then most of the time we think we're done, because it still could have a kind of static state to it. So there's going to be something next. And something's going to arise. That's going to be the now what. So a little bit, as I said earlier, at 10 o'clock, it's sometimes easy to, think, okay, this is the nature of reality, and this is who I am philosophically, right? But when I ask people what's next, then you're hooked. Do you see what I mean? The nice thing I think about the statues is, well, great art. There's a certain introduction and arresting of the mind for a moment that happens. And this, of course, happens with wonderful statues and paintings too, tankas, right? So then we can have there's that experience of, leaping like that. When I was 15, I went to Japan and had a mostly miserable time because I was with my family. Yeah, at 15, and I had a girlfriend who, when I came back, started seeing someone else, So, but when we went to, now I'm getting old, it was either Nara or Kyoto to see the large Buddha at Todaiji. Is it Nara? Yeah. So that was kind of like that experience I had. Like suddenly I was transported. I would use, kind of ecstasy outside myself for a moment, and then I kind of got, because I was cynical little kid, like, why do you have to build these big statues? It seems like a freaking waste of time, So, there was that experience of standing outside myself and the movement of Vajrayana, like that. So maybe we've said enough today, unless there's some other comments or complaints or, oh yes, thank you. Of course.
Is it okay? It's on. Oh, I lost my photo. for reference. I'm thinking about present moment and making good decisions. And if in a present moment it was preceded by a previous thought, and if that previous thought is based on memories, not the experience in the moment. I'm reading Thinking Fast and Slow by Kahneman. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. Oh, okay. Anyway, one quote from there, it says, "We do not choose between experiences, we choose between memories of experiences. Even when we think we're making choices for our future selves, we're really making them for our remembering selves." Do you want me to repeat it?
Where's that quote from?
It's Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow.
And
So I'm
this is like a contemporary person, or this is a philosopher person? or-
psychology.
Oh,
So I'm wondering about this space or this gap in space and making choices and the turn or the dive or before the dive from the diving board, I guess.
hmm.
And how to make them more so for a future self, a future virtuous self, and less from a remembering or for the remembering self. Does this make sense?
Kind of. Let's see, yeah. So when looking at the essential nature of mind being clear and knowing, that's not changing. So in a way, that's permanent, right? So even though it's momentary, it's permanent in the sense that it doesn't change into something else. Mind does not change into not mind. You know, we're talking about fundamental mind, like Rigpa or something. So, of course, the surface minds are going to be changing, right, like that. So this is one of the difficult parts about Dharma is that the Buddha and other teachers have constantly said there are different types of minds and different levels, if you were, of consciousness and mind. So it's very difficult sometimes, like, like what system are you talking from? What text or what teaching, what are you driving at? What's our starting point? So are we starting from, just ordinary consciousness and, the six senses, or are we starting from Rigpa like that? So when, and those seem to be a little bit opposed, right? So ordinary mind is generally going to be more concerned with memory than direct experience. Although, in a way, we're most of the time, in a sense, all the teachers teach, the lineages almost, they all follow, like when we're talking about just ordinary screwed upness, they're all following Sutranta style. Like the first glimpse is direct perception, and then we layer on it. The important thing is like the debate or the different styles of teachings around like, are we just making copies of copies? Or is each time, are we able to have a direct experience along with the memory, right? So of course, here at Lions Roar, we want to have it all, don't you? So we want to have both the memory and the direct experience operating together. But most of the teachings coming up from, foundational things and kind of building upwards, which is traditional Tantra, is going to be, working with the copy world. So at least having like a good copy. And the traditions that are direct experience traditions, immediate traditions, we'd say, like Dzogchen and Mahamudra are going to start from the top, so to speak. All the teachers I've ever been with, and that was Targya Nyingma teachers, have all said, well, you got to do both because we pledged to be Buddhas. So Buddhas mean you're omniscient. Like that. But generally, even transpersonal psychology tends to emphasize, the karmic copying aspect of mind, because of course that's the one that gets us in trouble. So when giving teachings and helping others, we have to work with both, right? So the karmic world and the complete Rigpa world are operating simultaneously. It's weird, don't you think? So that's why Padmasambhava's quote so wonderful. My mind is as vast as the sky, and my activity is as fine as barley flour. Like that. So the idea of memory, it also goes into the idea of generic image, right? So the Gelug scholars and practitioners, we shouldn't just call them scholar practitioners, are very interested in, working with generic image, in a sense, kind of memory aspect, like that. And that has some good and difficult aspects. And some of the more immediate traditions want to go direct to an immediate experience and not try to first get a correct generic image of emptiness, right? Because then you can spend a lot of time, okay, I just gotta get the correct generic image of emptiness, and it could be a little bit like Dirk saying, I just saw too many statues, pictures of David, so it was kind of flat by the time I got around to it. So that's the difficulty of too much memory generic work is sometimes you can get a little too tired. Immediate experience sometimes, then you don't have a context to how to work with that, because as we know, if someone is not enlightened if they have no memory, so unfortunately the more I slip into dementia, the less likely that's not going to increase my enlightenment. What do you think? So the leaping like a tiger while sitting is kind of a metaphor for embracing both immediate and mediated experiences, because we have to have a balance of both to be helpful to others. If we just care about our own individual liberation and you don't have a lot of responsibilities, in a way you don't have to remember shit, right? You're just kind of living in your cave, and you gotta kind of remember to check the barley bag to see if you can last another winter, but you don't have to remember much. So that's the value of retreat, which I'd like everybody to have the experience of, where you forget what day it is, and you forget your phone number, and and at some point you might forget who you are, you see. So that's the value of the immediacy of experience. You're not trying to keep track like that. Yay. Maybe we should close.
due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezig Tianzing Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. May the teachings of the Buddha flourish, and may the upholders of the teachings remain forever. May all migrators achieve happiness, and may they fulfill all their temporary and ultimate goals. Losang, magical display of a deep awareness of all the victorious ones. Merciful giver of a stream of profound and vast instructions to the fortunate migrators, please remain always unperishing, unchanging, unfading. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of objectless compassion. Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom. Vajrapani, destroyer of entire host of Maras. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the snowy land sages. Losang Drapa, I make requests at your holy feet.
Thank you, Umse. Super.
So we have a couple announcements. I'm going to start with Alan because that's the most upcoming announcement.
Oh, okay. So on September 10th, which is a Wednesday, normally we have a meditation in here, but we have a couple of guest speakers coming. Some good friends of mine, deep Dharma practitioners, Joel and Michelle Levy. They're from Seattle, but they go all over, and they've written books, and I would say they're most known for spreading the Dharma in in the modern world, in the workplace, medical institutions, and so forth. And they've written a new book that's not released yet, but they're going to come talk about it, do a Dharma talk, and have the book in advance of when it's actually released. So if you can get down here on a Wednesday night on the 10th of September, I'm sure it'll be really entertaining. There is a Eventbrite link for it. If you sign up, you don't need to pay. You can make a little donation, but you can register for free. If you'd like to get a book and have them sign it and you buy the book through that means, then we'll know about how many books they should plan to bring with them. So if you have questions about that, let me know. It's at 6 p.m., 6 to 7:30, roughly the same time as you would normally do the Wednesday group. And the Wednesday group folks are welcome to join. I think they would enjoy it. It'll be very what I love about them is they go through all different traditions, indigenous species, all sorts of, they draw wisdom from all places. So it appeals to secular audiences as well as deep Dharma practitioners. There'll be an email that goes out. I think it's already on the calendar. And yeah, so there'll be an email that goes out with the Eventbrite link, and maybe be in the Roar next time coming up.
Thank you, Alan. And so I just wanted to mention the Roar. This is a little kind of amateur sign-up sheet, so print very nicely for us. So we can sign you up for the Roar if you want to keep up with what's going on around here. And then also I wanted to thank people that are currently signed up for membership. I've just noticed a few new people, so you know who you are. And we have a QR code by our box. And if you'd like to sign up for membership, we so appreciate that. And then in October, some of you who know me know that I was recently in India, Ladakh, India. And while I was there, I was visiting our friends from Nari Institute. And three of them are coming here in October. And they're going to do a sand mandala. So the dates for that here at Lions Roar are from the 7th to the 12th. And then they're also but they're coming, I'm getting a lot of information coming towards me just yesterday. So that's why the Roar is so important, because we're not actually organizing this. So as I get information, I'll share it through the Roar. And then in November, Tenzin Choki is coming. I just thought to mention every month something. So thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to remind everybody that we have a Donna box back there. And we also have an electronic device somewhere or another, right? Yeah, okay. Anyway, if you have the wish to express your appreciation for the teachings we just had and the teachings that you, for those of you who were here at 10 o'clock, we also had teachings then. Express your appreciation for this incredible space that we have and for look around you, right? All of these great people who are here to support you, all of these people that are here as part of the Lions Roar community. So you can express your appreciation using cash in the box back there and the device that either Eli or Eli has back there in the booth. We'll take your credit cards and your debit cards. So we'll have that out. We'll also, let's take the device back into the dojo and we'll put it back close to, say, the drink table or something. So you've got another opportunity to donate. So thank you.
All right, speaking of another way to give back, so myself and Zachary are part of leading the cleaning team here and using some positive shame to get this going. I need to get some action, so feel free to text me and tell me to get going on it. But Zachary already put up QR codes for the people who are already interested in joining the team, and other people. We always need people on standby for cleaning. But in general, this place has been spick and span, and thank you all for keeping it clean. And also thinking about organizing another cleaning day in September that we can do like a cleaning party, get some pizza and some delicious beverages to have a party here and clean. So last time was really fun. Played a lot of good music and danced and cleaned. So if you're interested, let me know. That's it. Did I miss anything else, Zachary? Okay. The QR code will take you to, yeah, good reminder. Google Drive where we'll have your duties. I'm thinking also I will print that out. So anybody who wants it on paper, I can put it next to the refrigerator. There's a table that says there's no Dharma police right there. And we can have it there just in case you don't want to access it online. That way you can see what your duties are for that month and then to come in and get that done. We both didn't create like a sheet where you have to like, mark that you completed something, but just to know that what your duties are, and maybe I'll be checking in with everybody in our group text thread. So any questions about that? Just keeping the space really clean. It looks great.
It does.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank the people that are accessing through the Sambhogakaya and the people that are in Pennsylvania and Oklahoma and maybe up north. So kind of an informal rule is if you move, then you have to establish a meditation group wherever you go, right? So so fortunately that's happening, and I'll be up in the Northwest over the first week in September and getting together with Jack and Harriet and Matt McClelland and do some sitting, and I'll be working on developing the I'm calling the retreat studio. I'm calling it a retreat studio so the building department doesn't think, but it will be it's really important that people have time and a safe place, an inspiring place to do retreat and forget who you are, forget what day it is, forget whether you're human or not, it's important. So maybe we'll even have another Dharma Center in Washington. What do you think? I think so. Omahung, yay. Okay, roll it, yeah.
Omo araya patayana indi Om araya patana